Tonight and every weeknight here on ENCA, a variety of people will get their chance to host this program. We'll give you a chance to get involved in the conversation, unfiltered, accountable and accessible. As a former student leader, it has been interesting to observe SRC elections unfold across the country in their various ways. Observing these elections, a lot has come to mind observing these elections. Some like to say that students have lost interest in political student organizations and their petty politics. However, on the other hand, we see the decline of independent candidates and apolitical student organizations in SRC elections. Universities have a long-standing history with student politics, from Umxolisi Majombozi to Steve Biko, moving right into Fees Must Fall, Rose Must Fall, Decolonize, Wits, the Shambok movement on campuses against gender-based violence. Universities, through student politics, have always played a crucial role in shaping and influencing the national discourse. Universities are spaces where thousands of young people can be sharpened into becoming active citizens who will fulfill and appreciate their civic duties, rights and responsibilities. So should we depoliticize when we have just overcome a generational political lull? Should we depoliticize when young graduates will become professionals in extremely regressive spaces? Do universities need to depoliticize, or should they be helping to cure the toxicity of national politics that have descended into campuses? You can be part of the conversation, and here's how.
Tweet us at ENCA using the hashtag LHIO. Call us on 011-759-6340 or send us a WhatsApp or WhatsApp video on 082-884-6370. And make sure those videos are no longer than 30 seconds, please.
I'm joined now in studio by UNISA, University of South Africa, Dean of Students and SAFSAS Deputy President, Dr. Sibusiso Chalufu. Thank you for joining us, Doctor. It's good to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Nompendulo.
I mean, it's you and I may have an interest in insight into the university structures, right? So I'm a student and I'm also a former student leader. But however, for the viewer outside who may not understand what the Dean of Students is, what a student development practitioner is, what the student leadership development unit is, and all of those things, and what the Dean of Students office does, can you explain it to them?
Well, thank you. It's quite an interesting area of work, student affairs. Previously, it used to be very peripheral to universities' operations. But more and more, people have realized that it is actually critical to what universities do. So, look, there's quite a lot that we are involved in, as you've alluded to. It's got to do with how we develop young people or help them enhance their development, because we've realized, actually research tells us, that what is regarded as soft skills are actually critical in terms of what happens post university life. So there's quite a lot that is involved in that area. The little things like your involvement in student organizations may seem sometimes like it's just one of those, but there's critical skills that are learned there.
Sure.
You learn organizational skills, you learn how to deal with conflict, you learn all kinds of things.
So would you say, often, I don't know if this term only exists within women, but often deans of students are women, right? And then we'll say, Mama wabafundi. So I know Baba wabafundi.
Well, that's an interesting one. Look, it's sometimes awkward because student leaders are very interesting beings.
Sure.
When it suits them, they think of you as Uba.
And then you're the enemy.
And then, yes, and when it's in a different set of circumstances,
sure.
They tell you, no, we're not your kids. Don't tell us what to
sure.
do. And look, we actually are colleagues.
So, but you were a student leader yourself, if I'm not mistaken,
True.
Right? And your politics, your student activism went up further than South Africa, if I'm not mistaken.
True.
Right? So now, How has you being in the two spaces, from being a student leader to being on the other side, just like I am usually on your side and now I'm on the other side, I mean, are there any similarities between student politics in your time and student politics today?
That's quite interesting. You know, when I was a student leader in the country, I decided to actually move out of politics.
Sure.
When Malusi Kigaba was the president of SASCO, he was one class behind me. Mm-hmm. That's the time when I thought, you know, for me, politics is not the thing, for a very simple reason. Because I felt like sometimes political structures on campus can be quite restrictive. And you know, you end up being in a situation where your own values, your own principles get compromised. And that, I thought, for me was not. Let me give you a simple example. So at our time at the University of Durban, Westville, we used to have PASMA, we used to have, you know, we had your SASCO, we had different organizations. Depending on which organization had put a point across, even if it made sense, you were not supposed to support it.
Sure. So is that the reason why, because you handle student organizations now, you almost you oversee them. Is that the reason why, or rather what role would you play right now if we were to have a conversation in Senate about whether or not to depoliticize campus? How would it shape?
Look, I think the whole debate about whether we should depoliticize or not is for me one that I have a problem with. I don't think that's a solution to how we deal with what is the problem. Okay. But let me give you just this. There's an ugly side to the politics, what I call the overbearance of politics in our campuses. And this ugly side sometimes results in you know, contestations that leave students or student matters not being dealt with. Let me give you a simple example. I have about, you know, plenty of examples. At UNISA, there were elections in 2016. And instead of UNISA being able to install an SRC, it took about 16 months, you know, 1 year, 4 months, 4 months for an SRC to be. Guess who suffered during that time?
Students.
It was students.
Sure.
You know, so
we can't do away with the student leaders. That's what you're saying. All right, let's continue this conversation after the break. Remember to use the hashtag LHIO on social media.